In the heart of Africa's most unforgiving wilderness, where survival is a daily battle and mercy is a luxury few can afford, something extraordinary happened that defied every law of nature. What you're about to witness challenges everything we thought we knew about compassion in the animal kingdom. The scorching African sun beat down mercilessly on the Masai Mara, its rays turning the savanna into a furnace of cracked earth and shimmering heat waves. Dust devils danced across the barren landscape, carrying with them the whispered secrets of countless struggles for survival. This was nature at its most brutal, where only the strongest endured and the weak became footnotes in the endless cycle of life and death. Among the scattered acacia trees, their twisted branches reaching desperately toward the cloudless sky, a family of elephants moved with the ancient wisdom of their kind. Their massive forms cast long shadows across the parched ground as they searched for the precious water that meant the difference between life and death. Leading the procession was Django, a magnificent bull whose tusks bore the scars of countless battles, followed by his mate, Imara, and their precious calf, Django. Little Django possessed the fearless curiosity that only the young can afford. While his parents focused on survival, the playful calf saw adventure in every rustling bush and mystery behind every termite mound. His stubby trunk swayed playfully as he chased butterflies and kicked at the dry leaves, blissfully unaware that in this harsh landscape, curiosity could be a death sentence. That morning, as the family paused near a small watering hole, Django's attention was captured by a colorful beetle scurrying beneath the thorn bush. Without a second thought, he wandered away from the protective circle of his family, his innocent games leading him deeper into the maze of scrubland where danger lurked in every shadow. Hidden beneath the gnarled roots of an ancient baobab tree, a massive African rock python lay coiled in perfect stillness. Rex, as the local wildlife researchers had named him, was a legend among predators. 20 feet of pure muscle and instinct, with a body thick as a tree trunk and scales that gleamed like polished obsidian. His cold, calculating eyes had been tracking the elephant family for hours, waiting with a registered opportunity. Every muscle in his powerful body tensed as he prepared for the strike that would end the young elephant's life before it had truly begun. This was the moment he had waited for, the perfect convergence of hunger and opportunity that defined survival in the wild. The attack came like a thunderbolt from hell. Rex exploded from his hiding place with terrifying speed, his massive coils wrapping around the startled calf before Django could even cry out. The python's body contracted with hydraulic force, each squeeze methodically crushing the life from his victim. The young elephant's desperate trumpeting pierced the air like a siren of despair, a sound so heartbreaking it seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. Miles away, at the edge of the Masai Mara, where the savanna met the dense forest mountain, a silverback gorilla named Buster paused in his morning foraging. The 40-year-old patriarch had ruled his family group for over a decade, his silver-streaked back marking him as a leader who had survived countless challenges. Buster's world was defined by clear boundaries. His territory ended where the forest met the plains, and the struggles of the savanna creatures were none of his concern. But Django's anguished cries carried on the wind, reaching deep into the forest where they struck something primal in Buster's consciousness. The gorilla's massive head lifted, his intelligent brown eyes scanning the distant horizon. Every instinct told him to ignore the sound, to focus on protecting his own family, yet something about that desperate plea for help awakened a response that transcended species boundaries. Against every rule of survival, Buster began moving toward the sound.
His powerful legs carried him out of the forest's safety and onto the exposed savanna where he had no business being. With each thunderous step, he left behind the familiar world of his ancestors and entered a realm where he was no longer king, but merely another creature struggling against forces beyond his control. The scene that greeted Buster was that of absolute horror. Little Django lay trapped in Rex's deadly embrace, the python's coils tightening with mechanical precision. The calf's eyes, wide with terror and fading hope, met Buster's across the dusty ground. In that moment, species meant nothing. There was only a child in mortal danger and an adult with the power to help. Rex sensed the gorilla's approach and raised his massive head, mouth agape to reveal fangs glistening with venom. A hiss escaped his throat like steam from a locomotive, a warning that promised swift death to anyone foolish enough to interfere. This was his kill, his moment of triumph, and he would not be denied. But Buster had made his choice. The silverback reared up to his full 7-foot height, his chest swelling as he released a roar that shook the acacia trees. It was not just a sound, but a declaration of war, a challenge that echoed across the savanna like the battle cry of justice itself. Pounding his massive fists against his chest, Buster charged forward with the fury of a mountain avalanche. The battle that followed was titanic in scope. Buster grabbed Rex's thick body with hands powerful enough to snap trees, pulling with all his might, while the python fought back with crushing coils and lightning-fast strikes. When Rex's fangs found their mark on Buster's arm, drawing rivers of crimson, the gorilla's response was to fight harder, driven by a determination that burned brighter than his pain.
The ground trembled like an earthquake as Django's family thundered toward the battle. Led by his father's trumpet of rage and his mother Imara's cries of anguish, the elephant herd arrived like an army of titans. They surrounded the scene, but dared not intervene, knowing that one wrong step could crush their beloved calf along with his captor. In that moment of supreme chaos, with blood flowing from his wounds and exhaustion threatening to claim him, Buster summoned reserves of strength he never knew existed. With a final, desperate effort, he wrenched Rex's body away from little Django, breaking the python's death grip and sending the serpent crashing into the thorn bushes. Rex, faced with overwhelming odds and nursing his own injuries, made the cold calculation that had kept his species alive for millions of years. He retreated into the shadows, his pride wounded, but his survival instincts intact. This battle was lost, but there would be other opportunities for one who knew how to wait. As the dust settled, an extraordinary scene unfolded. Little Django lay gasping but alive, his sides heaving as sweet air filled his lungs once more. Buster knelt beside him, gently touching the calf's forehead with fingers that had just delivered devastating violence, but now offered the tenderest compassion. The gorilla's wounds throbbed, but his heart soared with satisfaction deeper than any he had ever known. The elephant herd stood in stunned silence, their massive brains struggling to process what they had witnessed. Imara, Django's mother, approached slowly, her trunk extended in uncertainty. She had expected to find her son dead and his killer celebrating victory. Instead, she found a stranger from another world who had risked everything for her child. When Imara's trunk gently touched Buster's shoulder, it was more than gratitude. It was recognition. In that simple gesture, two species acknowledged a truth that transcended evolution itself, that courage and compassion are not bound by the color of skin, the shape of body, or the nature of birth. Buster rose slowly, his mission complete. Without seeking reward or recognition, he turned and walked back toward his forest home, leaving behind a family forever changed by his sacrifice.
Blood still flowed from his wounds, but they were badges of honor worn by one who had chosen love over law, compassion over caution. From that day forward, something magical began happening at the border between forest and plain. Each evening, as the African sun painted the sky in shades of gold and crimson, the elephant herd would gather at the forest's edge. They came not to feed or drink, but simply to stand in silent tribute to the gorilla who had saved their youngest member. And sometimes, through the shadows of the trees, Buster could be seen watching them in return. No longer strangers divided by species, but family, united by an act of pure love that had rewritten the rules of nature itself. The bond forged in that moment of crisis would endure for generations, a testament to the truth that heroism knows no boundaries. This incredible true story reminds us that in a world often defined by division and conflict, there are still moments when love conquers all. If this tale of courage and compassion moved your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from the wild. Together, we can celebrate the heroes who prove that sometimes the greatest victories come not from strength alone, but from the simple choice to care.